Do it live.
This is Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints happy cast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody, welcome to Saints Happy Hour podcast. I need to start the show by apologizing to our Polish KGB intern, Thomas. I had to redo Kevin's stream. I stacked it wrong. I know the open looked terrible on YouTube, Thomas. I know you've told me 1,000 times how to stack the shit in OSP. I did it wrong again. I apologize. Hey, everybody. Merry Christmas. The Saints won the South, 4th straight year. Kamara went out and scored a bunch of touchdowns. I'm playing this soundbite again because it delights me so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
I love that soundbite so much. And as somebody said on Twitter, Dave, you can't lose to the Vikings in the playoffs if you eliminate them from playoff contention.
Verbal meme. Guy touching his temple, his forehead.
So we've had a couple days to digest the Saints' lovely Christmas win and all that. Have we changed our opinion of what they should do as far as resting people and that sort of thing? Kevin, No,
yeah,
you're.
I think that's right. I mean, I think it's the bottom line is you need the Bears to beat the Packers to have a shot, and you also need Seattle to win.
Yeah, it's slim.
But look, the Bears, they win and they're in. They're playing for a playoff spot, and if they lose to the Packers, they're out.
And
so
fortunately for us, the Bears have been playing pretty decent the last couple of weeks.
He's been playing decent ball, yep. And they're going to give the Packers their best shot because they have no other choice. They're playing for their playoff lives. So I've long been a proponent of bench everyone, get healthy. But I think Dave is right. Unfortunately, I think you have to play your guys and you have to try to get this W.
As far as the Minnesota game goes, the offense, Minnesota's defense was just a bomb. I did not realize how injured. I mean, I knew they were injured to a certain extent. I did not realize that they are just like a burning trash pile, and they had no hope of stop. Like the Saints, literally the only way they were losing that game, the Saints probably could have turned the ball over twice more and still won. Like that's how bad Minnesota's defense was, Dave. So I didn't.
You know how we freak out about Craig Robertson playing linebacker sometimes? It was like both of their linebackers were Craig Robertson.
And their their defensive line, they had a corner that was a UDFA. Like their whole defense was a mess. But that said, how do you judge it? How do you judge the Saints' performance? Look, Alvin Kamara, we'll get to him in a second. But how do you judge the rest of it, Dave? How do you when they're just playing a defense that was so bad? I mean, Armstead was blocking people into the stands, literally. So how do you judge this?
I don't know if it's as bad as like the Denver game where they're playing a 8th string quarterback that's never played before. But I do think you've got to take it with a grain of salt. You can't say, oh well, look what the Saints offense did to the Packers. To the Vikings. So they're definitely going to do that against. I don't know who's got a good defense in the NFC these days. I don't
the
even
Rams.
I don't know. Honestly,
the Bears, maybe.
Honestly, the Saints have one of the better defenses. But I mean, regardless, yeah, you can't compare. I think it would be comparing apples and oranges. So, but like I said on Friday, on Christmas Day, I mean, I was at least happy to see the fact that the Saints could, when given the opportunity, they could take over a game. They could put up a bunch of points. They could get their act together. So that's I'm fairly optimistic at this point. I'm fairly optimistic.
Where does 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day, Kevin, where does it rank in iconic Saints regular season performances? I feel like this one is going to be a Mount Rushmore one. Like, we'll remember this one. Like, this one will be forever.
Phone's muted. So are you talking team-wise, or are we talking just
I'm talking
looking at it for the Kamara
I'm talking
thing?
like individual performance.
Well, individual performance. He tied a guy who fucking scored 6 when you could probably punch motherfuckers at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they were wearing catcher's mitts for helmets, for Christ's sake. Like,
That is true.
You look at the team photos when that last guy scored 6 in a game. It's a bunch of guys that look like me, you, Dave, and Juge. If you catch my fucking drift. Fucking Kamara scores 6 on grown-ass professional athletes who are in tip-top physical condition.
They had big penises. Is that what you were saying?
Yes. Many big penises Alvin Kamara ran over, Dave.
I mean, you mentioned all of our names, so I just assumed that's what you were talking about.
But I mean, like, if you were trying to think of like iconic Saints performances, you would say like Brees against the Patriots, Monday night.
Maybe the Saints against the Cowboys in prime time when
Carney with the 3 touchdowns. Deuce had like
Drew Brees with the 7 touchdown passes.
Oh yeah, against the Giants. George Rogers had 225 yards rushing one time against the Cardinals. Ruben Mays had 200 yards against the Dolphins one time.
I mean, I think it's got to be up there. The fact that it was on Christmas Day and everybody's at home with their family and watching it, I think that gives it a little more je ne sais quoi, or whatever you want to say. Did I say that correctly, Andrew?
You did.
You did.
Oh wow. Okay, great. I think that makes it a little more special in a way. But also the fact that this game gives the Saints the division win. So I think it's up there.
Straight
I don't know.
division.
I mean,
titles.
how could you say? I would ask. Besides the Breeze, if you're just talking about individual performances in a game, what could possibly top this? I mean, maybe Breeze's 7 touchdowns against the Giants. I mean, you got individual plays, right? Like you've got Ambush, you've got Tracy Porter with the picks, you've got Steve Gleason, you got Tom Dempsey. I mean, you have individual plays, but when you talk about performance over the course of an entire game, the Saints don't have like a Derek Thomas 7-sack performance. They don't have. Maybe you could talk about Tyrone Hughes. I think he returned 2 kickoffs for a touchdown in one game. Michael Lewis did that, I think.
Yeah.
They do have, but you know what? They do have the little Jordan touchdown game. They do have that.
Same game? No, not same game. Sorry, previous
it
game.
all blurs together.
No.
That's gotta be
I
on
think
there.
if we're talking all-time individual performances over the course of an entire game, so not just one play, it's absolutely in the Mount Rushmore all time.
I don't know. You've got like 2 Drew Brees games on there. You've got like
his 7 touchdown against the Giants. That's got to be one.
Okay, and then there was one recently. Didn't he have a perfect game? Didn't he have 150?
He
there
did.
Was where he missed like 2 passes. They were like he was like
the Colts game last year where he like
that could be that you got to put that on there.
That's in the discussion, yeah.
So that's 2 out of the 4 spots right there.
If we include playoffs, the Super Bowl, he was pretty perfect in the second half against the Colts. Deuce against the Eagles in the playoffs.
I just want to point out that no one in the entire league has done this in a century.
Right. No, I'm not. Yeah. What about Michael Thomas? What was Michael Thomas's greatest game?
No one has done this in a century.
Okay, but Michael Thomas
in the entire league.
Here's a question for you, Kevin. Does Sean Payton have his hashtag We Make the Rules Pal energy back? Because he kind of screwed up when he let Taysom score, and then the Saints got the ball back.
Can we talk about how he fucked up and we should have had 7?
Yeah, he should have had 7. But I mean, that was hashtag We Make the Rules. The Saints were up 2 scores and throwing the ball to Troutman to make sure they could get Alvin Kamara another score. So is Sean Payton hashtag We Make the Rules Pal dick back in full force? Everybody hates him, but we love him.
I mean, look, somebody on Twitter said that's when they were posting the post-game locker room video of Sean Payton dancing, and it's that's our asshole head coach, and we love him. So, yeah, I think he's back. If Sean Payton's doing some awkward white guy four cocktails into a wedding reception dance in a locker room of grown men, yeah, he's back. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens.
Did you guys see the Steelers dancing in the locker room with no masks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm anticipating the league fining them a significant amount, docking them a first-round draft pick, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen second Tuesday or next week.
With bated breath.
I forget every time the Saints play Minnesota how much Minnesota fans fucking hate everything about the Saints, and they're still not over 2009. And
get fucked.
And they flooded the Saints Happy Hour email with angry emails, and they just hate the Saints and Sean Payton. And I tweeted the GIF at them from Mad Men where the guy in the elevator says, "I feel bad for you," and John Hamm is like, "I don't think about you at all." It's not our fault, Minnesota, that your biggest win of the last 45, 50 years is a divisional playoff round game. Again, where you got lucky against the Saints.
Well,
it's not our fault that Adrian Peterson fumbled a dozen times in the NFC Championship game. They are bitter, and I forgot about Andrew. I just forget how much they hate everything about the Saints. And to beat them and to put them out of playoff contention, it was delightful on Christmas.
It's also not our fucking fault that Brett Favre was an old sack of shit who bruises easily, because these assholes are sharing photos of Brett Favre all bruised up. Oh, my God, look at what they did to poor Brett Favre. Brett Favre can go fuck himself. Quarterbacks get fucking sacked. They get hit. They get banged up. Drew Brees fucking finished a goddamn series with how many fucking broken ribs?
11.
And a punctured fucking lung? Brett Favre can go fuck himself. And anybody who wants to defend Brett Favre can go fuck themselves. The motherfucker was gunslinging it around all season long in that magical 2009 season. It got the NFC Championship game, and then, true to fucking form, Brett Favre fucking blew it by throwing across his body, throwing it across the field, and Tracy motherfucking Porter put a goddamn exclamation point on that asshole's career. All right? You can all go fuck off. You can all fuck off. You got the fucking miraculous catch 2 years ago against the Saints.
That's the best.
That should have been it for you. That should have been it for you. The Saints were fucking. We were all pissed. But you know what? That's the fucking game. That shit fucking happens.
Yeah.
It fucking happens. It sucks, but it fucking happens. If you're a child-abusing fucking running back could actually hang on to a motherfucking football like he hangs onto a goddamn switch when he's beating his kid in the testicles, we wouldn't be having this fucking discussion. You motherfuckers! Go defend that asshole! Let's see, you got a quarterback that sends his fucking shriveled up pud to a goddamn sideline reporter, and you got a child-abusing running back that's beating his fucking kid and riding a camel to a motherfucking birthday party. You can all fuck off, and then you have your fucking city and your state hand your goddamn horrific fucking owner hundreds of millions of dollars in a goddamn boondoggle to build a fucking shit show of a football stadium. Get fucked. Get fucked!
I forgot about the camel.
I was about to say I would like to hear more about this camel.
Yeah, he
I'm
had a
not
birthday.
familiar with
He
this.
had like a $250,000
back to
birthday
the
where
camel?
he rode a camel
What
in.
happened?
I forgot
What
about
happened
the
with
He
the
camel.
rode a camel into a birthday party. I don't know if it was one of his kids' birthday parties or if,
it was
it was one of his own. He rode
was
a
his.
fucking camel to a birthday
It was
party.
his.
One hump or two humps?
I'll find out. Hang on.
All right.
Adrian, I'm gonna Google it. Adrian Peterson camel.
I'm a little disappointed that rant didn't include the Brett Favre dick pic.
He did.
It
It did. He
It
talked
did.
about.
he scribbled up pud.
Oh, I
He
missed that.
screwed
I
up.
missed that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
missed that.
I loved it. I didn't
There's
realize
like
I was going to
one-
get Kevin
He
so
did all the
fired up
There's
on a
the
Sunday
hump
night, but it was
camel.
delightful.
It was what? It was a one hump camel.
A one hump camel.
Wow, I can't believe you could actually look that up.
I mean, what?
He's dressed like he's dressed like he walked out of Aladdin. Idiot.
I mean,
Can't splurge for his he'll hit his fucking kids in the dick with a fucking stick. Oh, but he'll ride a camel and dress all fancy. What a fucking idiot.
no wonder
What
he's
a great
broke
dad.
and
What
still
a great dad.
and still
Hall
play
of
and still
Fame
play.
fucking asshole this guy is.
We should sign that guy and then
Yeah.
trade him for.
Good,
for a pick.
totally. It would totally make things great.
You know, I just want to say, I want to point out once again that really came full circle in the sense that, yes, we acquired him, but then we traded him for a pick. So it was kind of like the 180 for Kevin.
And who did we get for that pick?
That's a good question.
Don't matter. Don't matter. They could have given us fucking leftover French fries, and I'd have taken that goddamn
Oh,
deal.
man. It does come full circle. I have to say, before the Jared Goff news of breaking his thumb, I was convinced that the media, Dave, was going to be all the Saints are going to be the first favored team in the playoffs to lose because Drew Brees looks old, his arm is shot, and I was getting DMs from Bomani Jones on this exact topic, so I felt good about it. I was like, every media person is going to pick the Saints to lose in the first round because Drew Brees looks old. They think he's washed, but now Goff have the broken hand, so I think. But then again, the Rams probably wouldn't be a favorite anyway. But I'm excited that everybody's going to doubt the Saints, or at least I was. Are you still as excited about that possibility as I am? I love the fact that the Saints are not going to be a favorite going into these playoffs.
I mean, I think there's some truth to that. I think even if the Saints manage to get the first seed and get the first round bye, I think there would be a perception among most in the national media that that we lucked into it or that we backed into it, because obviously it would require Green Bay to lose to Chicago. But yeah, and I think the Saints always historically they have always played better as an underdog or with their back against the wall or against a team that's heavily favored. The other side of that coin is I think they've always played worse when they're playing against a team that they should easily beat. So I'm all for anybody. I'm all for anybody at this point talking shit about the Saints. Current players, Roddy White. I don't care whoever wants to come out and talk shit about the Saints at this point forward. I think is only going to be good for the Saints.
Yeah. All right. So listen. First of all,
hell, we should do it on this podcast. Fuck you, Saints. You suck. You really suck.
When is the last? First of all, the Saints aren't going to get the 1 seed because when is the last time we've been counting on someone else to do our dirty work for us? We've been counting on someone else to do us the solid, and it's worked out in our favor.
I mean,
never.
Counting
never
on
happens.
Mitchell Trubisky to get the Saints the 1 seed, that's like counting on me to pronounce your name right.
Are you watching the Packers tonight? They're not going to lose to the Bears. Forget it. In fact, they're going to string us along and make us think that they're going to lose to the Bears just long enough to rip our guts out in the fourth quarter. So that's not happening. You can take that shit to the bank.
By
Secondly,
the way, this snow in Lambeau is the exact reason why the Saints really need to fucking go for that first seed because, crowd noise and whatever aside, I really don't want to see the Saints have to play in the fucking snow.
Well,
yeah. Second of all, Kevin, you're muted, so everything that you're saying we can't even hear. And third of all, Dave is absolutely right. I actually think when you look at this as a whole, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to swing one of two ways. Either the Saints are miraculously going to get home field advantage, and the media narrative is going to be, oh, well, it doesn't matter because the Superdome is going to be empty anyway, or they'll just go back to the lazy Saints can't win on the road if they have to go on the road.
The Saints.
Well, the funny thing is the Saints are a better team. The last 2 years, Saints are a better team on the road than
they are a
at
better
home.
team on the road.
Nobody cares about your facts, Dave.
That whole dome field advantage narrative that was statistically true, 5, 6, 7 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
That's out the window now.
They haven't been dominant in the. They haven't been as dominant as they were in the dome from 2010 through 2013. You take out 2012 because of Bountygate. I think they won. They went 2011 and 2013 undefeated at home under Sean Payton. I mean, that was when they just wrecked teams at home. And as a gambler, you didn't care what the line was. You're like, I'm betting the Saints. But I will say this about the Saints on the road, and this is a theory that I have, is they're built like a cold weather team. They play defense, they run the ball. Drew Brees will complete 25 or 28 passes, and he won't throw the ball more than 4 feet in any direction.
They can run the ball.
But they can. But I think at home, Sean Payton gets a little cute and thinks, oh, we're in the dome, I can throw the ball around. Where when he goes on the road, like against Chicago or other teams, he's like, okay, we're on the road, don't turn it over, run the ball, play good defense. And they do the things that they were really well at, except for the Philadelphia game. But here's something I never thought that I was going to have to play, Andrew. We've been playing this ever since the Saints got Kwon Alexander. But as Kevin would say in wrestling parlance, oh my God, that's Alex Anzalone's music. Kwon Alexander blew out his Achilles, and Alex Anzalone is back. He's back. Alex Anzalone is back, Andrew. And I know it seems like 1,000 years ago, but wasn't he the sole person responsible for every time the Saints got roasted on play-action passes, or is that just my memory failing me?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. It's not entirely inaccurate.
I mean, how do you? You're the tape.
If you're asking me, am I concerned? Yes, I am concerned. I think the defense, however you want to put it, like the defense is diminished 5%. That's what we talked about, right? Kwon Alexander gave the Saints a little bit of extra juice that made them go from good to very good. And now they're just back to good, and you can exploit them. And depending on how Anzalone's doing that day with the misdirection, with the play action, with the cutting against the grain, with the gap discipline, he's the weak link. And so depending on your opponent, depending on your matchup, teams can exploit it. That's what they're going to go after. It's a concern.
I mean, what's a bigger concern, Dave, to you? Kwon Alexander being out or Marcus Williams not being at full strength because he's got the ankle issue?
Probably Kwon Alexander being out. Yeah, I would say. I mean, secondary's got some depth to it. I don't think Marcus Williams is. I just go back to, the second the Saints signed Kwon Alexander and the second they brought him in here and he started playing, he didn't play the first week he was here. He played the second week he was here. And, Andrew noted, and I would say it's absolutely true, this defense kind of turned a corner. And now that he's not here, I'm concerned that they're going to turn back around and go back around that corner where they came from, which is an issue. I don't think Marcus Williams is a player that, is going to make that much of a difference, that it's going to completely change a defense.
I don't know though. I feel like Marcus Williams, we give him so much crap, but he's like one of those pillars of guys. Like when he plays well, it really, really elevates them and keeps them from giving up horrible chunk plays and that sort of thing. I feel like we don't appreciate Marcus Williams good. We only focus on his terrible, Andrew. That's my Marcus Williams theory.
Isn't that kind of every Saints DB ever?
Except for Sammy Knight.
For
Sammy Knight.
Who was it in the Vikings game? Was it Janoris Jenkins
Yeah.
who looked exactly like Marcus Williams? He went in, he put his head down, he just threw his body at him, and the guy on Minnesota just went right around him, and it was a missed tackle. And I had PTSD watching that happen again. I was like, you got to be kidding! I can't believe that we are still fucking making these tackles against the Vikings. Like we haven't learned our lesson. Who was that? Jenkins? Was that Janoris Jenkins?
It was Jenkins.
Do you remember that tackle?
Janoris Jenkins, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think any Saints fan remembers that it was an innocuous play. It was an uneventful play in the grand scheme of things. But I think the fact that you all remember that exact play is testament to the fact that it was totally wild. That it looked just like the Marcus Williams missed tackle, and it was terrible. I can't believe they still pulling that shit.
Yeah. No, before we get to the mailbag, the questions, and we didn't do a hotline because the hotline, only like 3 people called in because it was on Christmas night and y'all were all drunk with family and didn't care enough about the hotline to make enough calls to have a decent one. Before we get to questions and that sort of thing, we have a scandal brewing on this podcast. Okay, I gotta call into the hotline that Andrew is doing horrible, nefarious gambling activities, i.e. gambling against the Saints. His bookie called the hotline angry because maybe or maybe not Andrew doesn't pay his bookie. I don't know what the hell's going on. But Andrew, your bookie's calling in saying that you wager huge sums of money every single week against the Saints. I'm going to play it, and then you're going to fucking defend yourself.
Yeah, hello there. My name is Mark, and I am the person that Andrew Juge likes to place his NFL wagers through. And I just wanted to make you all aware because I know he claims to be a Saints fan, but Juge bets against the Saints almost every single week. I think maybe this season it has been every single week. So I know he claims to be a fan. Full disclosure to all the listeners out there, Juge bets against the Saints every week. Just want to let you know. Bye.
You know what's funny is that when I listen to the Pardon My Take guys, they claim that like the Saints cover like 90% of the time, like the Saints are an incredible cover team.
Juge.
So I feel like Juge is probably losing a lot of money.
Juge, are you recklessly gambling against the Saints? Defend yourself. This is scandalous. I'm a Saints fan. I'm true blue. You need to appreciate it when we win all these division titles and blah, blah, blah. If you don't like it, you don't enjoy it, do something else. You ran against that, and behind our backs, you're betting like 6-7 units against the Saints every week. Defend yourself, Juge.
First of all, it's not every week. What an asshole thing.
It's like when he makes his,
for him
to
say.
It's like when he makes his predictions on the podcast. He's doing it to put good juju on the Saints.
So there is a little bit of.
It's like the Malbro.
It's like
the Malbro stink.
It's like the Malbro stink in the sense that if the Saints are gonna lose, I am happy with a small consolation that at least I get a little
money.
Cash out of it. And I look at it this way, like I would happily pay $50 for the Saints to win a game. Like if someone came up to me and I was like, "Hey, we can throw this game for you. We can I'm the ref and I can no call and not throw a flag when you blow up one of their receivers. I can make that happen for $50, $100. I would pay them on the spot. So
Tim Donahue.
So basically,
I want to say that is grossly incorrect. I bet on the Saints against the Chiefs. By the way, I was correct and I won money. But that is blatantly false. I have bet on the Saints numerous times this year, and that just happened to be one game. And I guess he had Mark has been he's been buying Pappy Van Winkle late at night, and then not remembering, and then seeing these bills for thousands of dollars. So I think he's making these phone calls when he's blackout, and he only has recency bias.
He must be if he's buying Pappy Van Winkle in the middle of the night, he must be doing extremely well. The bookmaking industry in Charlottesville is not in recession. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, he's winning a lot of money off me, clearly, because I keep betting against the Saints. So
Jude, you're a complete scumbag, and my opinion of you couldn't be lower.
No, that's fair.
The Saints, Dave, the wide receiver, it's hard to tell because Minnesota looked like they just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But Emmanuel Sanders looking good, Troutman looking good, even Jared Cook wasn't an abomination on Friday. How are we feeling about the Saints receivers, assuming Michael Thomas can come back in the playoffs and be 85 to 100%? How are we? Because against the Chiefs, they looked pretty awful. How are we feeling about the Saints wide receivers now and going forward?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't mention that they've got Lil Jordan in their back pocket at all times as like a secret weapon.
Stop it.
I mean, look, if Michael Thomas comes back, I think that's a cure-all. I think they're in a lot better shape. Even if they don't necessarily use him, he's going to attract a lot of attention. He's going to open up things for everybody else. But even when opposing defenses focus on him, he's still dominant. So
it's true.
I mean, there's nothing you can do about Mike Thomas. Michael Thomas coming back, obviously, one, can do nothing but help them, and two, obviously, yes, would make a big world of difference. If he's not here, do I still think they can do it? Yeah, Drew Brees has been known for making hobos look like all pros.
He does.
So it doesn't worry me too much, to be honest. It really doesn't.
Obviously next week when we do the podcast, we'll know the playoff seeding. We'll know whether the Saints got a bye, whether they're 2 or 3 or whoever they're going to play. But I guess my question to each of you is, who's the team you want to play, and who's the team that you're like, fuck, I like, because we're all going to have the shakes, and look, the last 3 years have been horrible endings in the playoffs. So no matter who the Saints play, we're going to have the shakes, we're going to be drinking, we're going to be going crazy no matter what in playoffs. But who's the team, Kevin, that you're like, I would hope that they would play them, that would relax me a little bit, and who's the team where you're like, if they play them in the first round, you'll be like, no, God, this is going to age me in dog years?
Let's see. Let me make sure that yes, I am unmuted. So assuming that they don't get the first round bye.
Yes.
I'm saying either the Bears. Well, the Bears could still wind up the 7th seed, and the Packers could still wind up the 1 seed. Yeah, I'm doing the math right. I'm doing the math right now. I'm doing it on the NFL playoff machine.
Well, yeah, I guess the Saints could be 2.
So I would say 7. The Bears.
You're saying the Bears scare you the least.
Yeah.
Like you would want to face them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they could. Is there a? I guess the Saints. I guess the Saints could lose to Carolina, and Green Bay could lose to the Bears, and then the Saints would play the Bears maybe.
No. Because I'm looking at it right now. Let me see. If the Bears beat Green Bay, hang on, I'm doing it right now. Even if Green Bay wins, because I'm doing it right now, even if Green Bay wins,
Wait, are you doing it right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if the Bears lose but the Rams lose, or sorry, if the Bears lose but the Cards lose also, then the Bears are in.
Oh.
Correct.
Yeah. So if the Packers were to win and the Saints, let's say, win and they're number 2, they would face the Bears if the Bears lose.
Andrew? Are you doing it right now?
Yeah.
I'm not. I just know from memory.
So you would want the Bears, is what you're saying, Kevin. That's the team you want.
Right, assuming they don't get the number 1 seed.
Okay, but Andrew wasn't doing it right now. Kevin was doing it right now.
He was doing
So-
it right now.
So Dave, I'll go to you. Who's the team? Who's the team?
I would pick the Bears. The Bears scare me the least. I mean, we're not going to play Tampa in the first round, but I would happily play Tampa again.
Ooh, I don't
Saints
know.
own them. They don't scare me. I just think it's a good matchup, and I would happily play the Bucks again. I would have said the Rams scare me the most, but now that Jared Goff is maybe out, I would happily play them too. The team that probably is a little sneaky, scary is the Cards.
No.
'Cause Kyler
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
No.
I
I know the tape watchers and Nick Underhill and all them. They're like, oh, the Cardinals. I watched the Cardinals enough, and I watched them yesterday. Their defense is abominable. Kyler Murray, it's not as bad as 2002 Aaron Brooks, but it's close. Like, something is wrong with his arm. And I think Sean Payton would coach rings around Cliff Kingsbury, and the Saints would romp them. That's my opinion. The team that I don't want to face would be if it shook out. I guess it can't shake out this way.
Are you doing this right now?
I'm doing it right now. The team that I'm glad they're not going to play is Seattle, and I know Seattle's offense has looked terrible, and their defense is getting better. I just like Russell Wilson. He's the kind of dude where, like, if he's on like Cam was in that playoff game in 2017, you're just terrified because he can just carry Seattle to a win. So I'm glad they're not playing Seattle. But the Bears would be my first choice. But if they play Arizona, I'm gonna be too confident. I'm gonna have to drink and get myself ramped down and watch Kyler Murray highlights from Oklahoma.
You'd rather play the Rams without Goff than you'd rather play the Bears, right? Than Arizona.
Ooh, that's a good question. Would you rather play the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky or the Rams without Goff? I think the Rams defense is number 1, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the Bears.
Ooh.
Bears 1, Rams without Goff 2.
Cardinals 3, right?
Dave, who would you rather? Rams without Goff or Trubisky?
I think I would rather Trubisky. Who's their backup? Who's the backup in Los Angeles? Not Blake Bortles anymore.
We don't even know.
I thought it was Bortles, but it's
look at it right now.
He's like
No,
I
don't think Bortles is
quarterback.
no, it's
Yeah,
not
I don't
Bortles.
think Bortles is with them anymore.
No, they have some guy I've never heard of. He played it.
I'm
way
doing it
too
right
much.
now.
Who is it, Kevin?
John Wolford.
Yeah.
Oh, right. They
He-
mentioned that. Yes,
That
he's
sounds
right,
like the senator from like Montana.
That's right. That sounds.
Hey,
Like,
you're talking to the I don't know what the fuck he did out of Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, but then again, like if this
I'd
what
still rather
what's
Trubisky.
worse?
Holy shit, he
The
looks-
Saints
he
losing to
looks like Bud
Trubisky or
Bundy.
Wofford, the dude for the Rams. Like that'd be the most that'd be the most traumatic way for this great 4-year period to
He played
end.
for the Arizona Hotshots in 2019.
Oh my
Oh
god!
boy.
The fuck
Maybe
are those?
maybe I would rather play against him. I don't know.
Is the Arizona Hotshots? Is that the lingerie league?
The fuck? Oh, that was in the Alliance of American Football.
Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
that was the one.
That was
That
good
was
times.
the AAC.
The This is
Right,
from,
yeah.
Mike from Booking the Territory says the Rams backup has never taken an NFL snap.
Yes, that's
Good
right.
God! Well,
I
he'll
remember
take
Mike
snaps this week
Florio-
because Goff.
Mike Florio mentioned that at halftime
Ooh.
Sunday Night Football. I've got okay. We didn't discuss this, so I've got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Before the Saints game, Drew Brees was, I think, 6 touchdowns behind Brady
Now it's
in the
9,
all-time
right?
career passing touchdowns. Brady came out yesterday, looked great, threw. I think Andrew's right. I think he threw 3 touchdowns, so he's now 9 touchdowns ahead of
Oof.
Drew. Obviously, he's going to finish this season ahead of Drew. Does this
Make Drew
in
come
any way?
back.
Does this in any way, shape, or form motivate Drew and mean that Drew comes back
I
next
think
season?
I would say, Dave, if Drew hadn't gotten hurt a second year in a row and cracked every rib in his body, he would totally seriously consider coming back. But
Okay,
because he got
but
injured again, he's done.
if he hadn't got injured, he wouldn't be behind Brady. He would be ahead of Brady currently.
Yeah.
So if he hadn't gotten injured, it wouldn't be a question regardless. So
I think every athlete hits this point in their career in their lifetime where their body tells them it's time to hang it up, and I think that
Yeah.
Breeze has hit that moment, and he's got to finish out the season for obvious reasons, but I don't think he's coming back under any circumstance.
Yeah.
I don't think how. I mean, obviously he wants to finish on top, so if he wins a Super Bowl, that would be great, but I really don't think there is any scenario
Yeah.
under which Drew Brees would come back next season.
No, there's not. It's a shame. It's a shame the Saints couldn't.
That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
he's under contract. It's his decision. It is his decision.
It is.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you what I think. And that's based on he was so close to retiring last year. It was almost a done deal. He kind of changed his mind at the last second.
Because of now this is okay. You mentioned this. Why did he change his mind? He changed his mind because of the Brady thing. Because Brady came back. That was a big factor in his return.
Yeah.
was
I
the
just-
whole
I
Brady touchdown.
think you put too much weight on how much he cares about the
No,
numbers.
that was-
I don't
No,
think it's
Brady,
like that.
dude. Drew cares about them records. Like, let's
was
be
public-
real.
that
He
was
knows
public,
them
not
all.
something came
He
out.
cares about all of them. So
No, I thought something came out that said once Brady decided he was coming to Tampa Bay, that was like that was a big reason why
yeah.
Drew came back.
I just think Kevin, you can jump in. I just think Andrew's right. Like Breeze has reached that moment where, all quarterbacks reach it. Favre, the great comparison I think to Drew's career is Joe Montana, where Joe Montana went to Kansas City and he was really, really good for 2 years in Kansas City, but like his body was breaking down and he started like 12 games and I think like 13 or 14, like he was missing games and his body was just like, dude, Joe, it's time to go. And that's what I think Drew is. Like, his body's just like, the question is, like, can the Saints squeeze 5 more weeks out of him to get to end on top?
Yeah, like, look, the passing touchdown record, yeah, he's not going to catch it. He currently leads in the passing yards record by a little over 1,300 yards. So in the event he retires at the end of this season, he'll lose that record. Brady will pass him the following year because Brady's going to stick around because he drinks his fucking TB12 water or whatever the fuck. And then we're going to have to sit back and watch the national media fillet him and ignore that he passed Drew Brees in the first place.
Well, he's a year older than Drew. I mean, so that's what frustrates me is that, like, technically Drew should be playing whenever Brady hangs it up. Technically, Drew should be able to go a year beyond that because Drew is a year younger. So it's frustrating to me to see if Brady gives it up after this year and Brady plays another year. That's 2 years. That's 2 extra years that Brady has played in the NFL that Brees hasn't, and that annoys me. That pisses me off.
Well, I mean, Brady's 100% playing next year, and for all the crap that people give we hate Arians, we don't think he's a good coach or whatever, and he's fighting with Tom Brady. Like, Brady just set the fucking Tampa Bay touchdown record for touchdowns in a season.
Well, and they're also what the fuck are they? They're 10-6. No, they're 10-5 right now. So, like, yeah, the coach and the quarterback can fucking argue all the lit long day if you're 10-5, and shit. Even if they lose, even if they somehow lost to the Falcons, they'd still be 10-6, and they'd still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think Brady's gonna look at this as he's got a lot of weapons that can prop him up in Tampa.
Yeah.
And if Brees retires, and with the Saints with their cap issues, the Saints might be a little bit on the downswing, and the NFC South might be there for the taking. So I think you'll look at it that way.
I did not realize that the Lions coaching staff, they all got the Rona, or they were in contact with people who had the Rona. They had their minority hire intern running their defense Saturday. Like, that's how many assistants they were fucking missing. Not that it would have mattered, because Detroit, they looked about as interested in that game as me giving a shit about watching what I eat during the holidays. So
you and me both, buddy.
yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking a iced coffee blonde from Blue Moon. It is surprisingly not awful.
I'm drinking the swamp water from Nikolai.
Yeah. Thanks,
I
Nick.
gotta get
You
back to
gave my
Charlotte
wife
Soul to
more of
drink
the beer she likes. It's amazing. We appreciate it.
Tears of a Falcon.
Yeah, it's great. He had a little bit of it left. So
there were some Falcons tears today. Just
my
pointing that
my
out.
God, man, the Falcons, that they should thank that kicker, because that kicker, if he makes that kick and Atlanta wins in overtime, they would have dropped 10 spots in the draft. Now they could pick as high as 3rd because he missed that field goal.
Have you guys seen that Dr. Pepper commercial? Like, right before that kick, they're like, he hasn't missed 27 kicks in a row. It was the most Dr. Pepper moment. I mean, it was perfect. It was so Falcons-y.
That was peak. No, well, not peak Falcons, because that's blowing a 25-point lead, but it was close.
Yeah.
All right, so we didn't do the hotline because it was crummy and you people didn't call, and it's not worth doing. But we do have a ton of questions, and when it's question time, that means it's time for this. It's copyright free on the YouTubes. All right, so we got questions. Skooks asked, why couldn't y'all wait till Monday? Hey, Skooks, we got to get it out to the people because they got a holiday week. They want the podcast. We get it out. If we get it out a day early, we get more downloads. We get more Manscaped ads run. We get like an extra 25 cents. So that's why.
Hell yeah.
This is a dark question. Why, Dave, why is it the universe hates the Saints?
I don't understand. What does this mean? Why? Where's this coming from?
I don't know. It's getting close to
we're
playoff
not the
time.
we're not the
lots of people.
Browns for crying out
We
loud.
are a damaged fan base when it comes to the playoffs. There's no way around it.
Yeah, well, Andrew. Okay, so Andrew kind of makes my point for me. He says, "Have you been watching the playoffs the last 4 years? They're in the playoffs. Okay, how bad could it be? They are not the Browns. At least the Saints have made the playoffs. I don't understand.
The Browns may blow their playoff appearance, by the way. That they're not in yet because they lost to the Jets.
I know that.
They're gonna be a 10-6 team in the AFC not get in. There might be an 11-5 team not get in. I can't imagine that would be the most Browns thing ever, to go 11-5 and not make the playoffs. I don't know if it's possible.
Would be quite Brownsy.
Yeah. Kevin, this is from Dale. Which one of you guys is going to play on the team versus the Panthers? Next week is our bye week, motherfucker. That's from Dale. So I guess, if you had to play a position non-kicker, what position would you want to play so as you wouldn't die for the Saints?
So when you say non-kicker, punter is not an option?
No, you can't be kicker or punter, but you got to play a
snapper.
position for the Saints. What position
Yeah, what
would
about
you want?
Long snapper. Done.
Holder.
That's
No.
right. That's right.
No.
Holder.
I think you want to play corner.
Backup quarterback.
I could play corner. You just let him run. I could just be like Jason David, just let him run by me and do nothing. You
You
know?
would be a good folding chair. Yeah, you would
Yeah,
be a good
like-
Jason David.
I think I could be.
As long as the check clears.
I could.
Ralph is the orange cone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This.
I don't know. Do you really think Kevin could be any worse than Anzalone at linebacker?
Kevin, stay home for the play fake. That's all we're asking. Andrew, this is from Mitch.
That was a joke, by the way. If Anzalone's ever listening to this, that was a joke. I'm not suggesting he's a bad player.
This is a good one from Mitch. If the Bears beat the Packers next week, will the four of you do a video of an entire podcast in costume reenacting every Saturday Night Live Superfan skit?
What happens? What has to happen for that?
If the Bears beat the Packers and the Saints get home field, will we do a reenactment of the Superfans? I won't do a reenactment of the Superfans, Mitch, but what I will do is I will go 4 entire days where I won't make fun of Ryan Pace for having 900 tight ends on the roster. How about that? Is that fair? What? Let me see. Let's see what other questions we have.
So wait, what position is Dave gonna play?
Dave, yeah, what position are you going to play, Dave?
I said long snapper.
Oh, yeah, long snap, right?
Should we put him at left guard? He can't be any worse than Andrews Pete, right?
You could put David on the special teams for the wedge. We could hop him up on Sugar, and he could be like a banshee because special teams you only have to do it once, like 5 seconds.
I want to be. I want to be in the coaching staff. I want to be the guy that watches everybody come out of the shower looking for the next great quarterback.
Looking at them nude and deciding who belongs on special teams. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's a Mike Westall joke, right?
Yeah, Mike
Westall,
Westall.
Yeah.
Oh, don't make me beg now.
This is from Chris. This is a good question, and any of you can jump in and answer it. What is the worst Saints-related gift you've received for a Christmas present?
Gift.
I'm assuming this has something to do with the Andres Pete, with the kid getting the Andres Pete.
He wanted that kid. He said he wanted an Andres Pete jersey.
He asked for it.
He asked for it.
He wanted the Pete jersey. What's wrong with that guy? Who hurt him?
I got a pretty bad gift. When I was a kid, I disliked Bobby Hebert because I blamed him for the playoff losses. And when he left to go to the Falcons, my mom, she tried to find me a Wade Wilson jersey, but she couldn't find it because why would you put Wade Wilson jerseys on the rack? No one wants that shit. So she had a custom T-shirt made that said Wilson on the back with his number. That was a pretty bad Saints gift.
I'm pretty confident that T-Bob Hebert, he won't come on the show, and I have a strong feeling it's because Ralph insults his dad pretty frequently.
I mean, listen, man, Bobby Hebert wasn't that good of an NFL quarterback. What do you want me to say? Like, he was an interception machine, and he alone is responsible for them losing to the Falcons in 1991. Don't let anybody fucking tell you different. The pick in the end zone when they were up 10-0 to Dion was a fucking horrible decision. I stand by that 100%. But T-Bob, come on the show if you listen. We love you. That's all the questions. That's all the questions we got for today.
Can we talk about Armstead and Ramczyk? My God, how good.
I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, Armstead's blocking people into the stand. Ramchek's blocking people into. Hell, Ruiz was crushing people. But how legitimate is it, Andrew? You watch the tape all the time. I mean, how legitimate is it when Minnesota is playing like dudes they signed off of out of the AFL, and you know?
Yeah, I mean, you still got to do it. So it's encouraging that we can play lower competition and skull drag them, right? You at least got to do that, and they did it. So, and look, Brees. I think the biggest takeaway from that game is that Brees was not sacked and he was hit once.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you have messed up ribs and you're trying to get healthy, that's the best way to continue to heal is by taking one hit and no sacks.
Well, the Saints go to the Carolina Panthers, and as of now,
play the breaking news siren. Play the breaking news siren.
What do we got here?
The Saints game has been moved to 3:25.
Yes. That is super clutch for me because my family, we are going on a camping trip, and I was thinking I was going to have to watch the first half in my car on my phone, but instead it's moved to 3 o'clock. That is super clutch for Marlboro. Yes!
I'm glad I could make your day.
You made my
night. That literally came in on the phone while we were taking questions.
Made my night. But speaking of the Saints, Panthers.
Wait, do the Packers play at noon? That's my next question. Do we know if we're playing for the top seed?
I don't know. Let's look right now. I'll look right now. There's a whole bunch of late games. I mean, like there are a lot of late games.
Gotcha. All right, I'll take a look at it offline.
So
go ahead.
But
Ralph.
Speaking of the Panthers won today. They beat the Redskins, although the Redskins they couldn't start Alex Smith.
Yes, all of the key games are at 3:25. The Bears-Packers game is at 3:25. The Seahawks-Niners game is at 3:25. They're all at the same time.
Okay.
That's why we got moved to 3:25.
Yeah. Oh, because they don't want. I mean, like what? They don't want people watching scoreboards, or?
Yeah, well, they don't want the Saints to know, hey, the Packers won. We can't be the number one seed. So we're gonna. Hey, Jameis, you're gonna play. Like they want it all to happen at the same time. They want the Saints to think, well, we can still get the number one seed. We gotta try at least to play it out, right?
Yeah, this from the brain trust that can't hire enough competent NFL referees and is going to add a 17th fucking game next season.
Oh,
good shit, fellas.
I forgot about that.
At least the cap number will go up.
Loomis math.
So the Saints, according to Vegas, right now they are a 6.5-point favorite. The Panthers. They're going to be a giant pain in the ass, I think. And I'll go first with my prediction. I think the Saints are going to win this game, but Carolina, they got the new coach. So they're, they aren't going to be like the Jets or these other teams that they know the coach is fired. They're not going to give a shit. They're just going to be like, I don't want to get hurt. I'm just going to not play hard. I think Carolina is going to play really, really hard in this game, at least for a while. Maybe the Saints can get ahead of them and they'll quit and they'll give up. But I think Carolina is going to play really, really hard in this game, and this game is going to be a giant pain in the ass. And the Saints are going to win 30-23. And
they won't even bring him to camp. He looks like a star of the day for the Saints.
My star of the day is going to be none other than Anzalone is going to seal it with a pick, and he is going to start a 4-game stretch where he gets a ridiculously stupid free agent contract from somebody because he's going to be spectacular the next 4 weeks.
You done lost your mind.
Yo, let me go next. My phone's about to die.
Go.
New Orleans 28, Carolina 24.
Yeah, we can't see that.
We can't see that.
You're doing a terrible job.
Are
you looking at your screen?
All right.
Look at your screen. Look at your screen to see what your screen says. We can see what you
go.
see.
There you go.
Oh my gosh! All right, 28 to 20.
24.
So
All right.
so Kevin,
Who's your star of the
He
day?
looks like a star of the day for the Saints.
who's your star?
Marquez Callaway.
Ooh, that's a good choice. I like that.
I like that.
All right, Dave,
You
hit
guys
us
are.
up.
You guys are. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Dave, go ahead. Give us your prediction and your star.
Kevin stole my star of the day because I'm picking whoever's returning punts and kicks,
Punts,
and
yeah.
it looks like that's likely to be Marquez Callaway next week, possibly. So I'll go backward and I'll say that's my star of the day. Yeah, it's a division game. Panthers, it's not going to be easy. I'm sure they would love to play spoiler. I'm sure they would love to ruin our. Yeah, I'm sure they would love to ruin our chance at potentially getting that first seed.
Teddy would love to beat the Saints too.
Oh, absolutely. But I just from a talent standpoint, I think the Saints are on a different level as the Panthers, and I think we are a more talented team. And if we come out and play the way we're supposed to play, it really shouldn't be close. Whether we do that or not, I don't know, but I'm going to assume they do. So I'm going to say Saints. I'm going to say Saints 42. Yeah, I'm going to say they put up a good bit of points. I'm going to say Saints 42 and Panthers 17.
Interesting. Andrew, who you got? By the way, it'll be interesting to see. The Saints, Carolina played zone against Brees last time, and he tore them a new one. So I'll be interested to see if they change it up.
Well, Nick, thank you for stealing my thunder. He just typed this in the chat, and shout out to Mike Mills also for his info on the times of the games. But yeah, Nick, I agree with you. The Saints are playing for the first ever NFC
Division
South
sweep,
sweep, winning all 6 games.
Yep.
And I think the Saints are going to do that. I think they're going to get up 14-0 early, and Carolina's not going to be interested in tackling after that. And I think the Saints are going to cruise to victory. They'll go up probably 24-0 at halftime, and then throttle it down in the second half. Saints win 31-7, and they'll be on cruise control, winning easily. My player of the game is Jared Cook, who has 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns.
Wow. He had that ridiculous catch against Carolina last year in the season finale.
He always does well in Carolina. Yeah. So that's why I'm picking that.
It's accurate. So we'll see. I mean, the thing is, the Saints can't lose the number 1 seed in a more heartbreaking fashion than they did last year, where Seattle was literally a yard fucking short and they didn't get it. So, it can't be any worse than last year. So my attitude is they can't hurt.
It could be worse.
It can't be. It can't be any worse than that.
Every year in the playoffs, we say it can't get worse.
It can't be. It can't be. I mean, it can't be worse, Andrew. I mean, the Saints, I guess, could blow the game against Carolina, but how is that worse than than Seattle having first and goal from the 1 and not getting it in? I mean, I'm going to tell you what it's going to be. The Saints are going to win. We're going to get real excited because the Bears are going to jump up 17-3, and it's just going to get our hopes up, and Aaron Rodgers is just going to rip our guts out at the end. That's how that's going to go.
It's coming. Yep.
It's coming. We are going to get irrationally excited because the Bears are going to come out and play great, and Aaron Rodgers is going to rip their guts out because that's
let me tell you something real quick about Aaron Rodgers. He's playing out of his mind this year. He's playing really well, and the elephant in the room here is that everyone's kind of saying, "Hey, what's the team we don't want to face? What's the team we do want to face?" The Packers are the team to beat in the NFC for a reason, and that's because they've been taking care of business when the Saints weren't. And they took care of business when they faced the Saints. So make no mistake, the Packers are going to be the toughest team to beat. They scare me the most, rightfully so, and that's going to be the toughest matchup.
I wonder how it shakes out, if the Packers, could they fall all the way to 3 if they would lose to the Bears. But it's gonna be a great it's going to be a great Sunday next week because it's fun. I mean, I know we wanted to say, hey, the Saints, it would have been cool if they got a week of rest. But you know what? The selfish part of me, Dave, is like we only get 16 of these a year, these games with the Saints. And they're only going to be so good for so long. So I know there's a risk that people could get hurt. But it is really cool that we have all these possibilities next Sunday with the Saints for home field and seating and all. And it is cool that they aren't going to treat it as a preseason game. So we get 16 full games this year, which is cool. So I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited about that. Are you excited about that, or would you have rather them just rest people?
No. We pay for a full season. Let's get a full season. And I'm happy that they're that they're in the position they're in, and it's exciting to be a Saints fan. I'm glad I'm not a fan of some other shitty team.
Like the Falcons.
Speaking of paying, you should become a patron. $10 a month. You get your booze bundle. You get access to this podcast every freaking day. It's the perfect time to sign up. Sign up for this week. You get us this week for playoffs. You get Andrew's grades. You get a podcast every freaking day. We deliver more content than everybody. When everybody else was like, oh, well, we'll get you next week. Dude, we delivered a podcast to our patrons on Christmas fucking night. That's the difference between us and everybody else.
That's right. My wife was really happy about that.
Yeah.
My wife.
So that's the hallelujah music. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you this week. For Kevin, for Andrew, for Dave. Until next week, the bar is closed.